indivisible and encompass economic, social, and environmental development. So in this plenary, we are going to talk about UN SDG 4, which is quality education. As you know, recently, Government of India has released Education Policy 2020, which is aiming to align a lot of things on the SDG area. Then we are also talking about UN SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. So that is one aspect. And then we have SDG 9, which is related to innovation with respect to industry and infrastructure. And then SDG 17, which is going to talk about partnership for the goals. Alone will not be sufficient. There should be great partnerships for making these goals attainable. And as you know, 2015, United Nations has set these goals, and already 5 years passed now. Another 10 more years to go. And we are a large country, 1.34 billion people population out of the 7.45 billion population. We have a great thing to accomplish. So journey has begun. So today we have very eminent people talking on the multiple aspects of whatever I have described. So we are going to start with the Raman Ramanathan, who is the Mission Director, Adult Innovation Mission, Government of India. So he is going to talk on need for technology-led innovation and entrepreneurship. Then he is going to be followed by Professor H.S. Jamdagni, the former professor and chairman of CDT, newly called. He is going to talk about innovation and entrepreneurship, DESI experiences, that Indian Institute of Science, DESI experiences. The third speaker is going to be Jay Asundi. He is the Executive Director and of Center for Science and Technology, CSTAT. So he is going to talk about the role of think tanks in enhancing renewable energy in India. Think tanks, for your information, they are involved in a lot of policy research, on behalf of state and central government. So he is going to add a lot of perspective. And finally, we have the IEEE senior leader, who is the 2021 president-elect candidate, Dr. S.K. Ramesh. He is a professor of electrical and computer engineering, California State University, Northridge. So he is going to talk about engineering, the renaissance degree of our times, innovating in the face of adversity. So we have a great evening now, where multiple perspectives are going to pour in the next 1 hour from all these eminent personalities. So the format is first one housekeeping announcement. All of you need to go to mute mode when you are not talking. Otherwise, no echoes are going to happen. That's the first thing. And then all these speakers are going to get 10 minutes each, for talking. And then at the end, we will get around 15 minutes. Basically, for Q&A. So all participants kindly key in your questions. So Neha and Chengappa, they will help us in getting the question to in the final 15 minutes Q&A session. This is going to be an exciting session. So I am going to invite the first speaker of this evening, Ramanan Ramanathan. He is a Mission Director, Adult Innovation Mission, Niti Aayog, Government of India. So a brief background on him. Still there is some lot of echoes and noise coming up. Someone, I think Ashok, you need to mute. Yeah. So R. Ramanathan is the Mission Director of the Adult Innovation Mission AIM, a flagship national or the Prime Minister and the Government of India under the Niti Aayog. AIM's goals are to establish and promote a vibrant culture of innovation and entrepreneurship nationwide. Ramanan graduated from IIT Bombay in 1991, joined CMC and rose to be the MD and CEO of CMC Limited, a subsidiary of the globally acclaimed Tata Consulting Service. He has attended advanced programs from Cambridge University and Harvard Business School. As Mission Director of AIM, Ramanathan has been instrumental to date in the launch of execution of several national innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives, resulting in 1,000 plus adult tinkering labs being established in schools nationwide, with 5,000 plus operational in 650 districts, and over 2 million students having access to innovative tools and technologies like 3D printer, robotics, miniaturized electronics, do-it-yourself kits, adult incubation centers being established in university and industry, fostering startups. So with this a brief introduction, I invite, Ramanathan to deliver, the first plenary talk.
Thank you, Professor Krishnan, for inviting me to this very, very important event. And I, first of all, want to compliment IEEE Bangalore for Humanitarian Technology Conference organizers for giving me an opportunity to share a few thoughts on this particular occasion. To all the respected dignitaries who are participating in this panel discussion, to all of the audience who are attending this, to the organizers of the conference, a very good evening, and I do hope that every one of you is hale and healthy under these very difficult COVID-19 circumstances, and all of you are also practicing the necessary safeguards that need to be practiced during such difficult times, and which have been advocated by your health authorities, your government institutions, or by the local government. We are on a very important topic, and that is how do we ensure that we build a sustainable world, a sustainable world that aligns itself with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals that have been created by the United Nations, and which are very relevant not only for our country but for the entire world. And we are living in unprecedented times. We are living in COVID-19 times. A COVID-19 virus has paralyzed nations across the world. It has disrupted supply chains. It has created national lockdowns. It has disrupted both lives and livelihoods. And it has also created an age of uncertainty as to what is going to happen in the future. When will this come to an end? What will a post-COVID-19 world look like? And we in India are even more particularly seized with the problem because we are a very large country. We are 1.35 billion people. We have more than 1.4 million schools in our country. We have 10,500 engineering and related institutions. We have 39,000 colleges. We have 150 to 200 million young students entering into the workplace over the next 5 to 10 years. And upon these 150 to 200 million young minds, youthful minds, lies the future of our country, lies the destiny of our country. So it is very important when we look at what we do in the innovation, entrepreneurship, educational, skill development space, that we empower our youth, which is the demographic dividend that we enjoy, which is the envy of many a country. 65% of our country is under 35 years old. If we do not give them the environment, the ecosystem, and the opportunities to be empowered and to be able to realize their full potential, their innovative potential, their creative potential as human beings, we will not only be doing them a disservice, we'll be doing a disservice for the entire world. Because any solution to any problem that you solve in India has the potential for making global impact. A solution for 1.3 billion people is also a solution for 7.8 billion people on our planet. And therefore, this particular topic that we are all deliberating acquires a certain gravity that everyone in the country should deliberate, particularly in the universities, in the schooling system, in the education system, in the industry, all the various stakeholders that Professor Jayakrishnan referred to in the Sustainable Development Goals. This is something that everyone has to be occupied with. And nothing brings it out more starkly and better than the Honorable Prime Minister's clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat. He said that we need to become a self-reliant India, an India which can not only stand on its own legs, but which can make the world stand on its own legs. A self-reliant India is an India that will not only contribute to the growth of the social progress and the economic progress of our nation, but it also contribute to the social economic progress of the entire world. And for this, he identified 5 pillars. And for each of these pillars, innovation, entrepreneurship, skill development, technology is extremely important. And let me share a little bit of that perspective. This is why the Atal Innovation Mission has been formed, to be able to help in all 5 pillars that will create an Atmanirbhar Bharat. The first pillar is the pillar of demographic dividend. As I mentioned to you earlier, we have more than 65% of our people under 35 years old. Now that is a tremendous youthful energy that we have in the country. It's an energy that is not there in other parts of the world. And if we harness this energy for the benefit of our country and for the benefit of the world, we are going to do an extraordinarily great thing. And that is why the Atal Innovation Mission has launched a series of initiatives related to leveraging this demographic dividend. At the school level, we have launched thousands of what are known as Atal Tinkering Labs. And these tinkering labs are dedicated innovation workspaces where the latest of technologies like 3D printers, robotics, IoT devices, miniaturized electronics, augmented virtual reality, do-it-yourself kits are being implemented in these tinkering labs. We have more than 5,400 tinkering labs operational today, with more than 2.5 million young students from grade 6 to grade 12 getting exposed to these latest technologies, because it is upon these technologies that the solutions of tomorrow are being built. Now, not only that, we are exposing the children and encouraging the children to identify problems in and around the communities they live in. So they acquire a problem-solving, innovative mindset rather than the rote learning mindset that we have all been subject to so far. Now, mind you, the rote learning mindset has helped India. Not that it has not helped, but what has brought us here is not going to take us there. We have built a $191 billion IT/ITS industry, and yesterday I heard that TCS, the company which I joined, has become #1 in market cap in the world among IT services companies. Now, that's a fantastic achievement. That shows the intellectual power of Indian talent. Now, how do we ensure that this talent is actually leveraged and utilized fully? That can only be done if we encourage them in problem solving and innovation. If we become a nation of startups, we already are on our way to becoming one of the most innovative nations of the world. We have more than 55,000 startups today. We have more than 400 incubators. And that brings us to the next point. Atal Innovation Mission has been setting up hundreds of world-class incubators. Now, why do you need world-class incubators? You need them because world-class startups come up only when they cross the valleys of death that they encounter. Valleys of death because they have not had the right type of mentoring support, business planning strategy support, access to technology labs or research labs at the crucial points of their startup life cycle, access to hiring, and all of these become possible when you have a world-class incubator supporting them. And therefore, today we have over 100 world-class incubators launched across the country, with 70 of them operational and more than 1,500 startups operational. The third thing is, how do we ensure that these startups and these tinkering labs, which are there in schools, are able to get other stakeholders supporting it? And that is why that issue of partnership, ensuring that industry, corporates, public sector, private sector, academia, and government all come together, then only we will be able to enhance and assure the success of all these initiatives. And that is why AIM has roped in a whole lot of corporate partnerships. More than 50 corporate partnerships are there.
I think you're experiencing connectivity issues, I think.
And then, thirdly, yeah? Hello? Is there some...
Ramnan, I think I'm seeing some connectivity. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, there was some poor connectivity. I think you can continue.
Okay. So when we look at the second pillar that Atmanirbhar Bharat is all about, it is the pillar of infrastructure. Now, pillar of infrastructure means both the digital infrastructure as well as the physical infrastructure. We have 600,000 villages in our country. We have 4,000 plus towns and cities. We have only 8 tier 1 cities. Now, that's not a sustainable growth plan for any nation. We cannot have all the people from rural India, tier 2, tier 3 cities flocking to the 8 tier 1 cities and creating the problems that we see today of migrant population and unsustainable living. So it is important for us to be able to create hubs and innovation of job creation across the country. So we have more than 200 smart cities which need to be created. We need more than 4,000 towns and cities to come up. And we need our 600,000 villages to be created and become self-sufficient. So for that, we are setting up Atal Community Innovation Centers across the country so that the needs of the local community and innovations related to the local community are being spurred and encouraged, and that will bring the benefit of innovation and job creation. The third pillar is a pillar of demand. We are 1.3 billion people, so we have tremendous demand. That demand can be fulfilled by the burgeoning startups of our country. So we need to provide them that ecosystem of demand so that they are not venturing abroad, but they can cater to the requirements in India. And we need our venture capitalists and we need our industry to partner with them to fulfill that demand. And therefore, the pillar of demand implies that innovation and entrepreneurship needs to be encouraged at every level in order to make that happen. Finally, the pillar of economic progress, socio-economic progress. We are still a country with 22% below the poverty line, with 44% agri-economy base, and out of 715 districts, we have 115 as aspirational districts, which are at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of access to basic healthcare, education, affordable housing, clean drinking water, sanitation, and so on. We have 1 in 5 infant mortality, 1 in 4 infant stunting, 1 in 5 maternal mortality in these aspirational districts. How do we ensure that we overcome that? That will only happen when we exercise the 5th pillar, and that's the pillar of technology. Technology has become affordable, accessible, available, and advanced. 3D printing is revolutionizing the way you are able to do manufacturing in the MSME industry. Robotics is driving the next level of automation. Communication technologies like 5G and satellite technologies are advancing rapidly to enable AI and ML communication. So we leverage the pillar of technology to be able to drive all the other 4 pillars, and that means innovation, entrepreneurship at a national level. We have already become one of the fastest growing innovative nations of the world. In the Global Innovation Index that was released recently, we have jumped from a position of 81 in 2015 to a position of 48 today. We are capable of reaching among the global top 10 because we have the benefits of economic progress, a fast growing economy, the demographic dividend, and a world in which technology is reshaping the world and it is becoming affordable, accessible, and advanced. So we have a tremendous opportunity today through the initiatives of the government and through an extensive collaboration with the public-private sector, not only to ensure that education reaches its pinnacle in India, but the benefits of education addresses all the other sustainable development goals that we are talking about. As the great Vivekananda said, arise, awake, and stop not till the goals are reached. We need to arise to the potential that is there in our India. We have to awaken the innovation and entrepreneurial spirit in everyone. And we have to stop not until the goals of making India one of the fastest growing economic nations, as well as a socio-economic progress nation across the world is achieved. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to talk in today's session.
Thank you, Ramanan. It was a great perspective. You painted a good story, to start with. So now I wanted to, go to Professor H.S. Jamadagni. He is a former professor and the chairman of DESI. It was formerly called, CDT. Professor H.S. Jamadagni has retired as chairman and professor at the Department of Electronics, known as CDT, Indian Institute of Science, which is also his alma mater. Jamadagni has been visiting faculty at the Federal Institute of Technology, Lausanne, Switzerland, University of Neuchâtel, Switzerland, and Kaiser-Lautern University, Germany. He is closely associated with companies like Texas Instruments, Boeing, Xilinx, Freescale. He is part of and parcel of several projects and initiatives in the industry and government. He is also co-founder of a communication startup, SQ. He was a member of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India. He is a foremost teacher, product developer, researcher, industrial consultant, and one of the main coordinators of the national education publications in India and a mentor to many research students. His current interests lie in the areas of application of hybrid wireless networks, embedded systems, energy management, wildlife studies, and natural farming. He has published several papers in these areas. I normally, refer to Professor Jamadagni as the human face of Indian Institute of Science. Because I had been, I had the fortune to listen to many of his talks from almost 40 years when I started in Bharat Electronics, Bangalore. So over to Professor Jamadagni.
Thank you very much. So I hope the microphone is okay. You're able to hear me? Yeah, okay. Now, we saw a top-down approach to innovation where a country takes an initiative at the top and starts establishing a lot of different institutions to actually encourage innovation. What I'm going to do is the opposite. I'll take the bottoms up, where a university or a department is a relatively small unit. How will it actually start contributing towards the innovation? The SDG is a big sustainability goal. And out of that, we are looking at a few things. And one of the things we are looking at these kind of experiments is to provide a sustainable platform for innovation, creativity, and also economically being viable for what they do. So I'll present the experience of DESC first, and then if time permits, then I'll have a few more things to say at a later point of time. See, what we did was we created a thing called Center for Excellence in Innovative Product Development with the collaboration with MSME Ministry. In fact, the MSME Ministry came here and asked us to take a project on this and then help. The basic narrative of this is the following. First is to establish an ecosystem for supporting the sector, so broadly MSMEs. Then integrating the student projects from universities with this, because we want to actually bring students into this mainstream as far as possible. Then drive always towards innovation, and then take fast action, because in all this we require really quick action. Otherwise, things don't happen. And then you partly finance the agencies, with the industry with whom we work, from taking funding from agencies. Presently, it is MSME. The ministry itself is funding some of these projects. And then keep the process simple, because many of the innovative processes, you get discouraged because the process involved a lot. You have to submit this and that and that and this and so on, and then the number of steps. And finally, you have to be highly accountable. So this is the narrative that we created in the Center for Excellence for MSME Innovation. And I'll show you some of the things that we have. So the important consideration for any project that we want to consider under this center, which is actually we are approached both by MSME and the students, or it has to be innovative, and it has to be within the technical ability of the team. And we look at their prior experience, commitment of proposing team, etc. Now, the outcome of such a center so far has been, we have got 20 finished projects out of 24 that we took from the industry. They all got a support between 3 and 15 lakhs of rupees from our center over about a year. Then we have completed more than 40 student projects with the MSME mentors, and each student project gets support of about 1.5 lakhs. And then 5 products started at university has transited to industry. I would think that this is a good measure by any standard, that products got started in a university, in a classroom, for instance, and then it has transited to actually production and manufacturing in the industry. And then there are 10 finished industry products in the next phase of investment, production, and field trial, and so on. And more than 10 projects have obtained national and international awards and patents. So what we can do in the industry for an innovation and creative platform is we can actually, wait a minute, I have another screen here. We have a strong mentoring, we can do strong mentoring from product selection to proof of concept to piloting and field trials. This we can do from a university. Then, I'm sorry, something went wrong. I'm unable to, I'm sharing, but then the thing is not, share my screen. I'm sorry, something went wrong with the sharing. Okay. So then we can bring faculty and student force into action. We can open labs for use. We can assess reasonably accurately quality, commitment, IPR handling, reliability, and ethics of all the people who are involved with us. Then we can design POC, and then we can collaborate with accelerators, labs, government agencies, and so on. Other labs is one thing where we are also involved in a few small things. We are working with some of them. And then we offer open source tools. Then we form consortia and other kind of things which help in making prototypes, and then help patenting ideas, and we work through funding agencies to partially fund. Then what we can't do is we can't only engineer products. We are for a university. Then we can't create markets. This is something that the industry or the people who come to us will have to look at. And then we can't prepare business plans. It is, I suppose, management institutes and others teach them how to do it, but we can't do this. Then we can't solve competition problems. You can't come and say, I have a competitor, please solve a problem with him. And then we can't source components and equipment, and we can't recruit people for the industry. And we can't do large-scale funding. So I hope with these two, you got an impression as to what we can do in the innovative base from a university. Now, one thing that this and the next one will be the two last things that I want to say before I leave it to the next speaker. We have to remember that while we are creating all this bottoms-up kind of a situation for people to come and innovate, we have to keep these things in mind. The facts of life, we deal with students, and they come from varied backgrounds and varied abilities. In fact, some of them come with very little communication abilities many a times to us. They are unable to speak English, but they are bright and good. Then majority of them may not become really leaders or visionaries. We have seen this. And most of them, they look for a credential, a degree from us that leads to jobs, relatively peaceful living with no stress and usual career growth and economic prosperity. They come from such a background that I come from such a background that I could never have thought that I would be giving a talk like this, say 50 years back. I came from such a poor background. Then they want to recover their investment in education. It is not unsubstantial anymore. People are paying a lot of fee, even in public places. And most of them are risk averse. This is what I have seen in our institute. All the master's degree students, even if you talk about entrepreneurship, well, they look at it, smile at you, and ask back, if you are such an entrepreneur, why are you here? Why are you not an entrepreneur? So it's very difficult. And I think it is a sort of built-in system in many of us that we are risk averse. However, society and prosperity depends on creativity, innovation, risk-taking, advancement of knowledge, sustainability, inclusive growth, and free ideas. You see, these are sort of inevitable. I mean, unless we have this, particularly as things are growing now, things are not going to happen. So, what should we do? We have to do a little bit of reorientation of teaching. And out of this, my mantra has always been, you should create a curriculum that caters to everyone. We should not deny anything for people who want to go and find a job. But we should offer also opportunities for willing students to do more than the curriculum. Say about 10% of students they may want to do. And more than that, we should compensate for their extra efforts by allowing them to take less courses. We should not say, oh, you go and do it at your extra time. That is not reasonable. And then we should allow student initiatives. And again, I have a problem with sharing screen.
So just click on the next.
Yeah, I have done that, but it is somehow, yeah, let me see. Yeah, okay. So I just want to end with the quotation from a educationist. He said the core problem of education is that we are creating excellent sheep. Please note these sharp words that he uses. Questions of purpose and passion are never in the syllabus. The students are taught that education is doing homework, getting answers, and acting the test, acing the test. So you come first in the test, and grades. And they are not using their minds. This has to change. All the innovative platforms that you create, creativity platforms that you create, should lead to really going beyond this homework, going beyond the acing of tests, and beyond the grades. And we need to do sufficiently for this. And we cannot expect all the students to benefit from this because they don't want to. They just want to probably look at only, they want to simply go and do some work somewhere else. And therefore, we should have a combination of systems where we have normal curriculum and plus a curriculum which actually helps a lot of innovation and creativity. So I'll close with this, and then if there are questions, obviously we'll be taking it up later.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor. It was a wonderful session, as usual. Your class was also exciting like this. So the next speaker is Dr. J. Asundi, Executive Director, Center for Science and Technology, CSTEP. Dr. J. Asundi is the Executive Director. He joined the organization in 2009 and has been involved in research and development projects in various areas. His initial work was in the field of emergency and disaster management. He mentored teams across areas spanning climate, energy, and urban development. He spearheaded the establishment of artificial intelligence for social impact as a sector of work and the creation of the Center for Air Pollution Studies at CSTEP. His broader research interests lie in decision-making and the development of decision support systems for diverse public policy problems. Dr. Asundi started his career as a software engineer analyst at Infosys Technologies. He spent a year as postdoc at the Software Engineering Institute, Pittsburgh. It's prestigious, the CMM and all, it came from there. Prior to becoming an assistant professor of Information Systems in the School of Management at the University of Texas at Dallas. He holds B.Tech from IIT Bombay and MS and PhD degrees, Carnegie Mellon University. So over to Jay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good evening everyone, and thank you very much to the organizers for this very interesting session where we're looking at education, innovation, entrepreneurship, and policy research. I do see a lot of familiar names and faces in the group of panelists, and hello to all of you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak and talk a little bit about, I would call it the third wheel. What is the role of think tanks and institutions like ours in this notion of education, innovation, and entrepreneurship? And I will give a little bit about CSTEP and then talk about what are the interesting problems that we have taken up that can fall into this particular perspective. So the Center for Study of Science, Technology, and Policy is a think tank. And before everyone asks what is a think tank, it's essentially a not-for-profit organization working with governments and institutions to develop solutions using science and technology. That's the basic perspective there. You can add all the other fancy words to it, but at the end of the day, you're trying to develop solutions using science and technology, and that is the role of CSTEP really. So our approach has largely been looking at exploring solutions that are born out of rigorous research and analysis, where evidence is a very important ingredient. An important aspect about the kind of work that we do is where we are engaging with our stakeholders throughout the entire process, not just at the end of the product cycle where we are trying to sell the product, but we are trying to work with them through inception, through data generation, through the analysis, and final implementation. Now, this is where we also seek active collaborations, make sure that we are constantly working with the various stakeholders, and it's also making sure that the public is also involved in this through strategic communications. So what are the 5 areas that we work in? Actually, one is in the area of climate, environment, sustainability. Second is energy and power, artificial intelligence and digital technologies, materials and strategic studies, and of course, computational tools. As you will see, most of these topics are ones that impact the sustainable development goals in one way or the other. And in my mind, I think these are topics that the IEEE should be, people who are part of the IEEE would be very interested in. So let me just dive in a little bit, spend a few minutes on what each of these topics we are really looking at. So in the area of the climate, environment, sustainability, we have 4 distinct groups. One group is really looking at the issue of air pollution, and what we are trying to look at is this idea of clean air for all. We have gone about development in a very interesting manner. We've been burning fossil fuels, but then not just with greenhouse gas emissions, but also on the air quality. And I think it is imperative that we make sure that the air quality is of a high standard for all our citizens. And that is where we get into the issue of where we're trying to support the National Clean Air Plan. The next one is we are looking at this whole issue of, given that we know about fossil fuels, given what we know about greenhouse gas emissions and climate change, we have to start thinking about an alternate development pathway for India. And this is where I think the Indian perspective is very important, because we can show to the world that the fossil fuel driven notion of development is something that we can get around and move in an alternative path where we lead to a low carbon pathway to development. Finally, we will look at issues related to climate adaptation. We do know that climate change is upon us. It is something that we do have to think about. And this is where we get into notions of sustainability using a circular economy. How do we reuse, recycle most of our goods and products so that we can reduce the amount of emissions as well as pollution in the environment. And then finally, we have to think about what are the strategies we can put in place given what we know that's going to happen in climate change. How do we suggest to our farmers that they need to change the way they think about cropping patterns, where we should tell developers where they need to invest in infrastructure so that they do not get affected by climate change. The second big area that we work on is energy and power. Here, clearly, we are working on the issue of renewable energy, and where we're trying to look at this idea of clean energy for all. How do we get not just clean energy, but also it has to be for all. We cannot have a non-inclusive growth where a few people get access to energy and others don't. And here there are a number of areas that engineers clearly work on. We're looking at issues related to the transmission distribution sector, looking at effective regulatory and policy regimes when it comes to the distribution sector. And I think going forward, one of the things that we'll have to really think about is an energy efficient ecosystem where we can have more energy efficiency in our system. All these are problems where engineers, and an upcoming problem that we are definitely going to face is this idea of efficient and effective cooling. How do we provide refrigeration to our farmers who want to sell their goods and services to the markets? At the same time, as global warming comes about, we need to provide comfort to all our citizens. How do we think about some of these things when we are going forward? In the AI and Digital Lab, which is a more recent perspective, as you all will know, that everybody is talking about AI, but I think the notion of AI for good or AI for all is something that has caught the fancy of most people. We have to think about how can we use these tools to improve the governance. We are a very large country. And as the previous speaker, Mr. Ramanan, talked about the fact that we are such a big country that technology is the way that we can solve some of these problems or work through some of these problems. The traditional approaches will not work. So we have to think about it from that perspective. We have to think about holistic and integrative solutions. And this is where CSTEP has been working on problems related to urban governance as well as health and malnutrition management. These are some of the tools that we have been working on. We can talk about this a little later. Finally, in the area of materials and strategic studies, I think here we are looking at materials are very important for clean energy, as many of you may have noticed. We have to look at issues related to electric vehicles. This is where we are trying to support the National Electric Mobility Mission. We are also working on emergency and disaster management. I think the COVID situation is a great example, but also we have to look at things like urban floods. Things that will become the norm going forward. How do we protect ourselves or adapt ourselves to these new situations? And finally, I think it's very important as engineers, we keep doing technology assessments for Indian socio-economic conditions. What are the technologies over the horizon that we should be starting to look at? And how do we explore these technologies for what India needs and make sure that we accelerate those developments or those adoptions within India? I'll just talk 2 minutes of an example here now, looking at how we impacted renewable energy and what we are trying to do right now. This is an example of what we would call a tool where we were trying to explore how can we accelerate the rooftop photovoltaic adoption in the city of Bangalore. And it's, of course, a solution that could be used across all cities. This is where we explored the use of the airborne light detection and ranging radar technology, where we used it to map the entire city. And the idea here is to use this tool to not only allow consumers to estimate what the potential of their own rooftops are, but also to allow the local utility, which is BESCOM, to come up with an idea of how much potential there is and calculate what is it that they need to do from the perspective of their distribution network to allow for these renewable energy rooftop panels to come up on everyone's roofs. And the side benefit is that now we have a map of a city which will allow urban planners for data sets. So I'll just give you some examples. So this is an example of where when we scan the entire city, you will get a point cloud which can then be stitched together to form what we would call a digital surface map. And based on this digital surface map, we are able to also map on the solar insolence, figure out where the shadowing considerations of neighboring buildings, and let consumers know which part of their roof is best suited for a panel and what can be used for that. This is just an example. I'm sure many of the Bangaloreans here know this building. This is the Chaudhary Memorial Hall, and you will see here it's got quite a big roof that can be, and in fact, we calculated that the payback period is barely 2 years, where you could generate so much electricity that, based on the consumption, of course, that you will be able to put the panels in these places, and for a fairly reasonable, for a fairly reasonable cost, you will be able to get the benefits. I won't go through the demo right now because we are short of time, but I would suggest that all of you go to the website and check out this tool. It is free for all. It's not, the idea was that it was not meant to be, it's not a business. We are a not-for-profit organization. And so what we are doing now is we are assisting BESCOM in coming up with 1 gigawatt of rooftop panels for the city of Bangalore. In fact, our estimate says that we can go up to almost 3 gigawatts, which is quite significant. And the idea is that we also think about various models by which this can be made possible. We are partnering with various civil society and resident welfare organizations to accelerate RTPV uptake. As you know, the national mission for solar energy is to achieve 40 gigawatts of solar. And I think it would be quite apt if Bangalore alone provides about, say, 2 gigawatts of rooftop PV uptake. So in conclusion, what I would like to posit here, and based on the conversations that we've had, we have the education sector, we have industry, but I think think tanks can also play a very important role in exploring future options for the country. I think we need to start getting away from the notion of copying the West. We need to set up our own solutions, think about the things of our own. And I think engineers here can provide can contribute by providing guidance to what kinds of futures we would like to see going forward. I think there's an adequate opportunity for engineers, for innovation and policy-focused research, where we're looking at policies and thinking about what kind of solutions. And I would leave by saying that here is a call to action for engineers to focus on sustainable solutions that are also inclusive. I think it's very important that we think about both these aspects, because not just we need to think about sustainability, but we also need to think about the inclusion or inclusivity and making sure that all our citizens get access to what we want. So thank you very much, and thanks again to the organizers for giving me this opportunity.
Thanks, Jay. It shows the quality of research, that's happening in your organization, which feeds into, state and, central government. So hope, they will do a quality job, going forward. So our next speaker is the tall, IEEE leader. S.K. Ramesh is the professor of electrical and computer engineering and former dean of the College of Engineering and Computer Science at California State University in Northridge, United States. He is a candidate for the 2021 IEEE, president-elect position elections, which concluded recently. Dr. Ramesh is an IEEE fellow recognized for his contributions to entrepreneurship in engineering education and served on several boards, including the ABET Board of Directors and IEEE Board of Directors. He is also the director and lead principal investigator of the nationally recognized Bridging the Gap, Enhancing Aims Squared for Student Success Program, supported by a multi-year grant from the U.S. Department of Education's HSI STEM program. Dr. Ramesh serves on the several boards, including IEEE Education Activities Board, the IEEE HKN Board of Directors, and ABET Board of Directors. He is the 2016-17 IEEE Vice President for Educational Activities, as well as IEEE HKN President for 2016. In 2014, Ramesh was invited by the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy to host one of the 4 national White House STEM workshops at CSU Northridge to broaden engineering. So over to Mr. Ramesh. Ramesh.
A very warm good evening to all of you. Thank you very much, Professor Jayakrishnan, for that introduction. To my fellow panelists for your thoughts, really wonderful to hear the perspectives at the level of public policy, at the level of professional associations and universities. Again, the question that comes up often is it the future of engineering? And rather, I would pose to you that is engineering the future. So I put my remarks together for about 20 minutes, but obviously we're a little short on time. So I'm going to try and restrict it to about 10 minutes. And I began by saying engineering, the renaissance degree of the times, innovating in the face of adversity. Because to me, innovation, as I learned in my conversation with our former president, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, is something that you do that demonstrates resilience.
Okay, go ahead.
Sri Ramesh, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Ramesh, there is some poor connection, I think.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. Thank you.
Ramesh, are you on a fast connection?
I believe so. Can you still hear me?
I think.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you. So I was talking about my conversation with President Kalam, and this was when he was receiving the Von Karman Award. And many of you have read his book, India Vision 2020. And as Ramanan was talking about earlier, our conversation centered around the quality of engineering education in India. And President Kalam was very clear that technology is the answer, but not just unmitigated technology that is accessible, affordable, and sustainable. In his own words, technology should not only be for the classes, but for the masses. Now, the other question that I'll share with you is a conversation with President Pranab Mukherjee, the late President Pranab Mukherjee, where he talked about creating teams of inspired teachers by establishing linkages with the global educational fraternity through the use of information technology, just as we're doing today by connecting all around the world. Given the paucity of time, I want to share this conversation with you. This took place about a month ago. The government of India has now got a consultation for science, technology, and innovation policy. And I spent a couple of hours about a month ago, that's the link right there, talking about industry engagement in particular and how industry engagement is important in innovation, not just for the future of engineering, but to engineer the future. So I want to take you back in time about 5 or 6 years ago. I was actually in Bangalore, and we were talking about transformations in engineering education at BMS College of Engineering. The questions that I posed to the audience at that time is, what are the changes that you'd like to see? What changes can you make to achieve the goal? And what are the barriers that stand in your way? So the answers, and I'm just summarizing these for you, came down to autonomy, came down to empowerment, came down to transparency, leadership, and commitment of the stakeholders. The other question that I asked them is, what are the resources that you need to overcome these barriers? Very quickly, remember this is 5 years ago, the audience talked about using virtual platforms, using collaboration with industry, using collaboration with faculty and alumni, exactly what we're doing today with conversations such as these. So what is the changing landscape? On the 10th of March, we had a situation where we were all socially connected and not socially distant. And literally in the space of 48 hours, we went from being socially proximal to one another to be completely socially distant in order to protect and preserve lives. And yet, the business, the economy, education, all of these things are transforming right before our eyes, moving forward. So what is the role of professional associations? What is the role of universities? And ultimately, what is the role of individuals in this process? So the challenges are many, and many of the previous speakers have already talked about them, so I'm not going to go into detail on those. But the opportunities are what I want to discuss. The opportunities are sustainable, clean energy, transportation, smart cities, and all the technologies that organizations like IEEE are creating, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, machine learning, etc. But more importantly, I think it is very critical that we bring people together and work on these problems. So when you talk about the 10,500 colleges in India, it is very important to me that the students, the faculty, the industry there are looking sustainably on how they can make a difference in their local environment. This is a quotation from the National Academy of Engineering, and you can download the book from nae.org. But the main message here is that engineering has a direct and positive impact in people's everyday lives. But remember, we cannot do this in isolation. As Dr. Ganapathy Krishna, one of the speakers who spoke yesterday, we need to bring the end user into the perspective. So if you're working on telemedicine or telehealth, doctors need to be a part of the solution. The end user needs to be a part of the solution. So how can we do this? One of the drivers, in my opinion, is accreditation. So I serve on the ABET Board of Directors. ABET is a global accreditation organization. IEEE is a founding member of ABET and the largest of ABET's member societies. What is really important about ABET is that if you come out of an ABET accredited program, it ensures that you're meeting the needs of the profession. Industry provides a direct influence on the educational process. So it's not the grades that you get, it is the outcomes that you're able to demonstrate as a result of the education that you've gained. Furthermore, we look at a global educational perspective, and we thrive on close interaction with industry. In India, the NBA is taking the role of accreditation for Tier 1 institutions, but I'd really like to see this go beyond the Tier 1 institutions to the Tier 2 and Tier 3, because as you talked about cities, this is the same kind of energy that we need and innovation to move the country forward. So what's IEEE's role in all of this? Clearly, IEEE is the largest professional technical society in the world. Many of you in this call are aware of our global reach. Many of you are aware of our technical breadth. All of our conferences, many of them are being held virtually right now. The top-cited periodicals in the journals, the top-cited standards that we use. Perhaps the most important thing that IEEE does is our social impact, which is global humanitarian efforts. And that is the focus of this conference. It's being organized by sections like Bangalore. Advancing technology for humanity. You see, this doesn't happen by accident. This happens because of the commitment of members. It happens because of the contributions of members and standards, publications, and conferences. There's a lot of information here on our strategic goals, but I focus your attention on the left-hand side, which talks about values, trust, service to humanity, integrity, global community building, growth, nurturing, partnership. In a post-COVID world, these are the values that we celebrate, and they align perfectly well with the values of IEEE and where we're headed. So how do we do this? You look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, innovation and infrastructure, right in the middle, number 9. This is where the rivers of IEEE entrepreneurship and humanitarian activities come together to go into the ocean of possibility. This is where IEEE members play a part. How can you engage through IEEE's humanitarian activities? I'll give you one quick example, because this is very doable in the IEEE context. Ethics in IEEE, engineering projects and community service, engaging university students, pre-university students, and nonprofits to sustainably work on 4 different pillars: access and abilities, education and outreach, environment, and human services. Now, as Vice President for Educational Activities, I wanted to take this one step further beyond just the projects. So we actually have partnerships with 13 universities in India that have now made this a part of their curriculum. So as a result of this, we're producing engineers who understand service learning, who understand solving problems in the community context. This is the MOU signing with folks from Purdue University, a number of universities from India who are part of this particular endeavor. We've had a huge impact. The last speaker talked about inclusion. I'm very proud of the fact that over a third of the students participating are women, and over 42% of the pre-university students involved in these projects are women. Okay? I'm going to skip over this section just in the interest of time, but perhaps during Q&A we can talk about it. I can give you a number of different examples of how the humanities are engaged with engineering. In particular, teaching structured programming using music as a vehicle, right? Or by using the ideas from artificial intelligence, machine learning, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering to create a brain control interface for a wheelchair user who's cognitively sharp but physically challenged and who can move the wheelchair in real time by using their thoughts. All of these are possible by bringing together, I think, collaboration across disciplines. And innovating in the face of adversity, to me, is the definition of resilience. So how do you put this all together? Three thoughts here. Skill sets. Clearly you need communication. Clearly you need teamwork, leadership, and interdisciplinary skills. But beyond that, we need all graduates, not just engineers, all graduates to be systems thinkers, to be sustainable practices, and to have cross-cultural sensitivities. More than ever, I think the reality of global innovation is that we'll have increasing distance between the innovators and their markets. So we've always had competition, but collaboration, ladies and gentlemen, I would argue, is the need of the hour. In addressing societal needs with inclusion, diversity, and equity is where we're headed. So collaboration is critical to our success. IEEE, being the largest professional technical society, has a number of different ways in which we do it. I have a visual example for you. These are the young professionals in IEEE who came together at a board meeting about 4 or 5 years ago. And one person said pyramid, and in a blink of an eye, the young professionals gathered, and I saw collaboration, I saw teamwork, I saw communication. While we know that innovation needs to happen rapidly, I would also argue with you that innovation cannot happen alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. This is an old African proverb, something we need to keep in mind. So I'll ask you rhetorically as I finish my remarks, do you want to make a difference in the world? Because truly, that is at the essence of innovation. I do it by working with young professionals. I do it by working with young students. And I do it by practicing the values that I'm talking to you about. To be inclusive, to be collaborative, to be accountable, to be resilient, to be ethical. Simply put, I care. But see, this is not enough. We need to move ahead with urgency. There's no room for complacency. You almost want to flip it and say to be resilient, accountable, collaborative, and ethical. So thank you again for the opportunity. I truly appreciate it. I want to go back to what President Kalam said in his words. Sight is what lies in front of us. Vision is what lies ahead. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ramesh. A quick presentation on multiple areas and the messages that you captured in the last slide. That's really worth trying. So what I see is co-creation is the way. Work with end users and start making practical solutions, and then find your passion and then purpose in life. And then partnerships, because you showed a lot of partnerships over the thing. So that aligns with even United Nations, one of the sustainable goals and partnership. So with this, I just wanted to turn it to Puneet. Puneet, you can start the interactive Q&A session.
Okay, so I can see one question here to all the panelists. How do we get discussion on SDGs into curriculum at schools? Mandatory humanities electives in universities, especially engineering, education and awareness is super critical to help mold minds at an early stage.
Puneet, let me jump in here and say integration is critical because we can't be thinking about silos. The humanities, I think, are integral. Someone talked about ethics. That, to me, is the central question that we need to answer today. So organizations like ABET through accreditation are already integrating that into the curriculum. More than ever, I think service learning and organizations like IEEE provide an opportunity for us to practice these values. I'd be eager to hear what Rahman and the rest of them have to say about the same question.
It's a very important question. And actually, we have been doing this in a very systematic manner in Atal Innovation Mission. Every Atal Tinkering Lab that is being set up. Now, I didn't speak too much about the Tinkering Labs, but the whole idea of the Tinkering Labs is how do we foster a problem-solving, innovative mindset in our young students. And when we talk about problem-solving and innovative thinking, it is very important not only to bring the technology focus on which we can create solutions, because they become affordable and you have all these do-it-yourself kits with which the students can start innovating, and they do it in a spirit of fun. There is no marks associated with this. There is no credits associated with it. It is the pure joy of innovation, the pure joy. It's like, you give a child all the Lego bricks and they start putting it together and creating something out of their own imagination. In a similar manner, we are saying to the students, here are all these toolkits available to you. Start solving problems with them. And how do you solve problems? You go and look at the problems in and around your community and come back, join together in small groups of 3 or 4, and then innovate, come up with your own idea, create a prototype of an innovation. Now, every innovation that we do, we have realized that 3 things are essential. Number 1, you have to give them 21st century skills. It is not enough to give the technology skills. You have to give 21st century skills, and that is on design thinking, critical thinking, teamwork, collaboration, all of that stuff, communication, and so on. Number 2 is you have to get them to define the problems. You should not give them a problem and say, here it is, go and solve it. Because 90% of our problem in design thinking is when you empathize. And when you empathize, then you come and ideate and then you create a prototype and so on. So that is the second part. The third is an integral part of every innovation requirement is that you have to align it with one of the sustainable development goals. So today, if you go to any Atal Tinkering Lab across the country, and there are, like I said now, almost 5,500, and before the end of this year, 6,000. Every student is aware of all the 17 sustainable development. And that's an amazing thing because you are talking about rural India and they're able to identify immediately because they see that as a stark problem. I mean, waste management is a stark problem in cities. Education is a stark problem outside. Water management is a clear problem. Poverty is a problem that they see. So they start looking at disadvantaged, disabled children, how they are able, different children, how they are able to leverage technology for the benefit. And one of the things that we have done along with MHRD, which is SSC, which is a secondary school education, is to work together to identify curricula, and define the curricula so that these aspects get emphasized as much as all the physics, chemistry, math, biology. What is it used for? It is used for solving problems or doing further research to solve the problem. Climate change, for example, almost every student now has come up with so many solutions related to climate change, robotic waste management. We run what is known as the Atal Tinkering Marathon every year. And in the last marathon, just to give you some idea of the statistics, we had 50,000 students, out of which 70% were from Tier 2, Tier 3 and rural India. And we had 200 top innovations, 8,000 innovations submitted by the children. That means, 10, we asked every school, submit 10 of your best innovations. Right? And then we had selected the top 200. In the top 200, 70% were girl students. Now that was one part which I forgot to mention, how important it is for the girl student to become part of this whole innovation, entrepreneurship, skill development initiative. And 45% of the winners were girl students. 45% of the top 200 winners. Now that is what the country has to amplify in many ways. And what we are trying to do is, working with the schooling system, the secondary school education, we are ensuring that every adult tinkering lab is accessible to all the students in that district, not just the school where it is located. So every school, the vision is every school should have a tinkering lab. The word tinkering means problem solving in a joyous environment, in a fun-based environment. And we want to make sure that either you have a tinkering lab or you have an access to a tinkering lab. And community innovation centers that we are setting up are also a mechanism by which we are extending the reach, so that even the informal sector, not just the formal, there are many children who are not enrolled in education. How do you draw them in, and how do you give them the opportunities of this? These are all the various initiatives that the government is taking.
Small thing, people have talked enough about it, but I'm very happy to learn that there are a lot of people who are sensitive to these SDG goals. But my problem as a university teacher has been to really translate them to students and our own faculty as to what they mean. There are these 17 goals, and they are all expressed, and there are all titles and even presentations. But really translating it to something like a hands-on actionable item is still a difficult job. And I think some of us are facing this. And in the university, I'm happy that some of the young people are getting already into the groove. But some of the engineering students, I think it still does not really do not know what it is. I mean, they know by title, they know by the name, but what it really means in their work, what it really means for them to really think of it is, for instance, in our department, all MTech students, they just don't bother to even switch off lights in the morning in the corridors. I think a person who is sensitive to any kind of a sensitivity of sustainability would simply take, I mean, it is a trivial matter.
Sure.
And I think my problem as a teacher has been really, how do I translate into something actionable, something hands-on? I'm still struggling with that, and I hope we will take some steps to do this in future.
Great point, sir.
I mean, just to respond to that, sir, I think you have brought a very important point. How do we also ensure that faculty and engineering students get aligned to all of this? There is this initiative for setting up 1,000 innovation cells. I mean, they have already been identified universities across the country. This is the only way, according to me. I mean, forget about universities. Even in the industry, there is very little knowledge in professionals who are working in corporate industries about sustainable development goals, because they don't have to bother about it. And it's not something that is pressing them on a daily basis. So unless you rope it in innovation, entrepreneurship, and encourage projects on innovation in the university level, which is very important. We just, we have, every university has a chief placement officer. We are just stimulating the job seeking mentality rather than an innovation mentality. Why not have a chief research and innovation officer who is also coordinating and who is more responsible for promoting innovation in the school, in the university, and seeing how that is spreading across, knowledge about that is spreading across to the industry. Once you bring this connection and make this as a very important factor in a university, we will still continue to be chief placement officers, job seekers, rather than being job creators. That transition and mindset has to happen at the management level within a university and also at the faculty level, and then you will automatically be able to encourage it.
So let me just quickly say that I think faculty professional development, you hit the nail on the head, absolutely. Because a group of students will go through and have a wonderful experience, but in order for you to make this sustainable, no pun intended, you really have to inculcate this in the minds of the faculty. And the best way to do that is through the opportunities that Ramanan just mentioned, and also bringing in other creative opportunities. For example, there's this program called Teaching to Improve Diversity and Equity in STEM. And I remember Dr. Asundi, Jay Asundi, talking at the very end about inclusion. because not only do we need to be sustainable, but we need to be inclusive. There's lots of different points of view. So what TIDES does is actually uses music as a vehicle to teach structured programming. And automatically we find there's a connection between beat, frequency, pitch, and loops, arrays, and filters. And we are creating a whole new genre of programmers who understand it in the concept of Hindustani music or hip hop or reggae or salsa. See, this is a very different mindset. And I think faculty continuously need resources. This is where IEEE can help. IEEE has resources to help everybody from pre-university educators to entrepreneurs and take advantage of the opportunities before you. The other opportunity that I'll offer to you is through foundations like the WIE-LEAD Global Foundation. Many of you are graduates of the IIT, and I spoke of the WIE-LEAD Global Foundation about a month ago. Water, health, education, energy, livelihood, and sustainability. They have a tremendous focus, again, on improving education from ages 4 through 18. And it really, really begins with teacher training, with teacher development. If you had more time, I'd talk to you about the program that I run, AIM Squared, which talks about first-generation students, many of whom, by the way, come into my program not even speaking English. And at the end of 4 years, they're graduating with degrees in engineering and computer science. How is this possible? And I truly believe this is possible because we are going back to the old school thought where the teacher cares about each individual student, brings out the potential in that student, allows them to serve the community. See, this is critical, and we need really strong teacher training programs. It doesn't take a lot of resources. All the resources are right there. We need to put our heads together, put our minds together, and make it happen.
I think we missed to take the views of Dr. Jaya Sundi. So, Dr. Jaya, you would like to add anything?
Yeah, so I don't think I can add much more given what has been said, but I think there's one perspective that I would like to add is this perspective that what we have experienced while we were working is this notion of working with stakeholders right from the beginning. And I think that is something that all of you have talked about in a flavor, but I think it's an important aspect to make sure that, as Professor Jamdagni said, the student who has not had power for a day will understand the need to turn that light off. Or the person who has seen waste being thrown around his house will see the value of good waste management practices and so on and so forth. And I think that is where we need to, and so this is the last part that I would like to put in, is maybe we need to start encouraging industry to want students who are holistic in their perspective when they apply their solutions. And I think that's really, really important, where we can get the students to now start using solutions that they have, and when they're applying for jobs, they should be able to talk about solutions rather than the grades that they got in the various courses, and that should be what drives their ability to get hired, rather than just the fact that they got an A in some course or A plus in some course. It should be that what solution have you come up with? Have you showed independent thinking? And I think that would be where the next step would be.
Yeah. So I think, Vijayapur sir, we can now summarize.
Yeah. So I think all the speakers now talk about the need for co-creation, connecting with the stakeholders, and start because every problem solving, as all of you told, 95% is identifying the problem. You can get a lot of insights from the field, but then we need to prioritize the insights, and we have to define a problem, and then as professors told, design thinking, especially that's the need of the hour. We have to teach design thinking, human-centered design, so that the students will come out with impactful prototypes, and then get early feedbacks from our users, and then define other things. So I think all of you touched very, very interesting points. We are going to summarize all those things, and IEEE as a catalyst is going to enable this across India and even the region that we are in. These are all wonderful thoughts. So with this closing remarks, I just wanted to thank all of you. So IEEE Section Bangalore has made a special token of appreciation and applause for all of you. So please stand by. So we will start with Professor Ramanan Ramanathan. So you can play. Next, Professor Jamadagni.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is a wrong one. Could you just turn it off? Okay. But then maybe, you can skip and then move to the next one. So technology is, sometimes, it gets into, this confusion. Even also did a great job, in the afternoon session. Yeah. So, the Dr. Sunday. Yes. So if there is a mix-up,
play his file. Really sorry about that.
Okay. Anyway, Professor Jamadagni is our favorite teacher because
so we will start like this. We will live.
So we are going to have a class for him, just like we have done it in our classes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jayakrishnan sir, for wonderfully moderating this session. And I would like to thank on behalf of IEEE Bangalore Section, IEEE Bangalore Humanitarian Technology Conference, and all the delegates to Dr. Jay Sundi, Mr. Ramanan Ramanathan, Dr. H.S. Jamadagni, as well as Professor S.K. Ramesh. And just to give a small information, what Professor Jamadagni has said that they are not able to inculcate the human values among the students. We at Bangalore section have taken a small step towards that, and we have created a new initiative of student humanitarian technology projects, because mostly B.Tech and M.Tech students, they will make their own projects. We have told that if you are molding your B.Tech or M.Tech project towards a solution of any societal problems, we are going to fund you. Even though with very, very limited resources, we are funding only 5,000 rupees per project, but you may be happy to know that we have got 72 such proposals, not one or two. And we have funded all those 72 proposals. And yesterday, there was an evaluation of that, and we are going to announce the best among three. So in addition to what we have funded. So this is our small endeavor towards inculcating the humanitarian aspect or design thinking approach towards the student. And now coming to the professionals. So the whole idea of IEEE Bangalore Humanitarian Technology Conference is to again provide a platform to the industry professionals, to the academicians, to the researchers, as well as NGOs and government, as well as policy makers. Because everybody is working in their own isolation. There are silos out there. We want to break that, and we want to bring everybody on this platform so that we can learn from each other. We can implement the best practices of all the people, and then we can really make India the way Mahatma Gandhi is looking for, or the way Vivekananda is looking for. And I fully agree with Ramanan sir that yes, we as a volunteer, as a human being, we should arise, awoke, and stop not till the goal is achieved. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for joining us.
I just want to give a big hand of applause to Dr. Jayakrishnan. So a big hand of applause to you for one of that.
Thank you, everybody.
So much.
Thank you, Professor Jayakrishnan. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
So friends, now we are going to start our valedictory session, and chief guest of the valedictory session is already with us, Mr. Deepak Mathur, who is IEEE Region 10, which is Asia Pacific Region Director-elect. And very soon, from January 2021 onwards, he is going to be the Director of IEEE Region 10, which is the largest region in IEEE. And it has largest membership also. Out of 4,22,000 memberships, in Region 10, we are having close to 1,10,000 members. So he is the face of not 1 or 2 IEEE members. He is the face of 1,10,000 members. So welcome you, sir, for this valedictory session. I know from morning onwards you are busy with meetings, and somehow you were able to attend it, even though you were pushing me hard not to invite you. But thank you very much, because I know my repeated attempts and requests, you have come all the way. I know this is, I think, your 5th or 6th meeting of the day today.
Thank you, Puneet. Thank you very much. And in fact, I was fortunate enough to listen to the discussion by Dr. Ramanathan. I really liked that discussion. In fact, I also vouch for that. We have to bring a paradigm shift in our thought process, our approaches, and we have to create a mindset of job creators, and we have to create the mindset of job seekers. So I really strongly believe that. And one more thing, I think we have to teach our students that how to move from project to product. So that is to be taught. And because some of the projects are in the reports, many are in the prototype, but they are not coming to the product. So we have to brainstorm. We have to think that how to revise the system, but the projects should the shape of the products. And thank you very much. Your talk is always very, very interesting and very, very important, very educating, and I really enjoyed that. And today Dr. Dimak virtually. In fact, I always enjoy his thoughtful course on social media, and very intelligent course which he goes on this social media. So I enjoy a lot that. And I also see Dr. Kumar on the panelist. Nice to see you all. And really thank you, Bangalore Section, that you have done a wonderful job organized this particular event, which you had planned to have in person. And but virtual event, I think there are many plus sides of the virtual event. In fact, that is why we can have good speakers from all over the world. Participants can also attend from the comfort of their own places, and that's what we see in this particular Bangalore Section HTC. So there were excellent speakers and wide topic in humanitarian technology were covered. So let us see the positive side of this situation. If I talk about humanitarian technology, I'm associated with humanitarian technology for the last 10 years, and I have seen that how we have come to this stage. We actually started promoting this concept, and we started awareness, and the region had always been a pioneer in humanitarian technology activities. We started Humanitarian Technology Conference in 2010, and that was done in 2013, and that was held in Tohoku University, Japan. That was attended by President Gordon Day and Robert DeMarca, and many dignitaries attended. So that was the focus and importance of HT during that time. And even the second Art in HTC, when it was Chennai by Bangalore Section, Puneet attended, our Mishra attended, and we wanted that humanitarian technology should take some shape. And the initiative of Bangalore Section, making section event, that is really remarkable and very good job. But we are still looking for some sustainable humanitarian activities in region 10. And I'm sure such kind of consensus will be discussed and will surely come out with some sustainable and technology-driven activities for understanding. So we are still missing. We have done a lot of small projects. We have done awareness programs, and we are doing conferences, but we have to see that how we have bring technology humanitarian activities for understanding in Region 10. Puneet knows that we are trying to bring more outreach program in India, especially focusing on Bangalore section and Kerala section, but we are still facing some problem of volunteers, succession planning, some funding issues are coming, but probably that if we are able to do that project in India, so that would be one of the sustainable attempt for humanitarian activities for disaster recovery. So B-HTC, one thing which was discussed to B-HTC, which was really remarkable, that ROI, social return on investment. So, and the ways of measuring social impact in community. So I like that thing, and it is also from the perspective of investors and who come forward for the cause of investors. They want to know that how this investment is being. And it was rightly said, if you can't measure. If you can't measure, how can you improve? And if you can't measure, how can you manage? So this is what coming that like that, and we have to measure our efforts, we have to measure our activities, and excellent thought process of implementing SOI to measure social impacts of our project. So there were very interesting sessions and great initiative of Bangalore Section, and I would like to congratulate each one of associated with the conference. No need to say that Bangalore Section is doing a wonderful job, and they are initiative takers, they are really leaders in IEEE, and they have done very innovative work. And now I want to see that how collectively we can do some sustainable project in humanitarian activities, so where we can show that our technology has solved the problem of the community. So with this, I would like to thank you and congratulations to you all, and I hope we will continue our effort on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, you have given your address before we planned, but anyway, thank you very much. So we are again going to give you our virtual plaque, which we are giving to all our speakers. Okay, I have to take back the presenter side. So this being virtual conference, we are not able to give physical token of appreciation. So we are giving all the panelists as well as speakers a virtual token of appreciation, but definitely physical one will reach to your house very soon. Yes, sir. So now we will be starting formally the proceedings of valedictory session. Just to inform all the panelists as well as attendees about IEEE B-HTC. So we had close to 394 paper submissions in 12 tracks. In this conference, out of 17 SDGs of the United Nations, we have incorporated 12 SDGs. And that was a very, very conscious decision by our CPC as well as CREST chair. In addition to these 12 SDGs, we also had, when we will talk about diversity and inclusion, we really practice it. And we provide opportunity for our affinity groups like young professional and women in engineering to own and manage a dedicated track in each of the section events. So same way we have given them opportunity here to own and manage a special tracks on young professional as well as women in engineering. And I just want to inform Deepak sir that even the paper evaluation was done for these YP and WI tracks from the young professional as well as women in engineering delegates. So this is the way we give freedom to them. And in addition to that, there was a high performance computing. How high performance computing can play a meaningful role towards humanitarian technology. So that was another special session. We were very fortunate, sir. Actually, when we started this initiative, we never thought that we are going to have this many submissions, as well as it will be going to be such huge conference with huge participation from speakers. But रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर सिंह हमें एकला चलो रे देन लोग मिलते गए, कारवा बढ़ता गया. Same thing. Up to 50 speakers, 50 plus speakers came in last 3 days. So it was really astonishing for us and encouraging for us that yes, it is going to be a sustainable conference in true sense, because when inaugural session is having such kind of huge participation, in the coming years we are going to have better and better performance. Just to give information that Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, he himself was there during the inaugural and he inaugurated the conference. We do have Secretary Panchayati Raj, Director IIT Delhi, and several other educational institutes like IIT Bombay, IIM Lucknow. So professors and deans from there, they also participated. Then we were having country heads from NXP, as well as several other industries also. Then you have just seen that MD of Patel Innovation Mission, he was there in the last plenary, as well as one Magsaysay awardee was also there, in addition to IEEE legends from like you, India Council Chair, as well as Kartik Kulkarni. So it was overall very, very encouraging conference as far as speaker support is concerned. But we have definitely maintained the quality. Out of 394, we have selected only 97 papers, which is less than 25%. And that too, each papers were reviewed by at least 3 reviewers. Then in last 3 days, we had very, very focused sessions on sustainable smart villages, climate change, good health and well-being, agriculture, sustainable cities, connectivity and industry innovation, education, innovation, entrepreneurship and policy research was the last plenary. Now, as a general chair of this conference, I would like to emphasize that my contribution is very, very minimal. The hard work, real hard work has been done by these track chairs who has done tremendous amount of effort to put them and made this conference so much successful. So I would like to acknowledge the contributions made by Dr. Ashok Das, Mr. Narayanan Subramanian, Jai Krishnan Diva. I would like to request all of you to switch on your video so that our delegates as well as the director can see you. Then coming to WI track, Sadhana Astavar and Vijay Lakshmi, they were the co-chairs for this WI track. Similarly, for the young professional track, Neha Kumari and Ashwin Nadi. So these two wonderful YP chairs, they have done a fantastic job. Now coming to the TPC chair, this was a Herculean task. In any conference, you can know that one number of papers are close to 400, and we strictly adhere that there should be 3 reviews. So you can imagine the amount of hard work being put up by the TPC chair. So Dr. Chandrakanta Kumar was the TPC chair. Coming to WI TPC chair, Dr. Annapurna Patel, YP TPC chair, Prasant Mishra and Chengappa, they have done wonderful jobs, and they were really strict. Out of some 25, more than 35 papers were being submitted in this. They selected very few. Similarly, for a high-performance computing for Divya and Pushpamala, their contribution is really enormous. So thank you one and all for making this wonderful contribution, so that in the inaugural lesson itself we were having this excellent program as well as excellent papers. As a finance chair, our treasurer Prashant Mishra has done wonderful job, and again we are maintaining the legacy of Bangalore section in this year, that we are going to be a profitable conference again for after Connect, second successive profitable surplus conference. In IEEE term, it is a surplus rather than profit. So that way, I am very happy to announce here. Then I just spoke our website chair Manjunath. You can see our website. He has not only developed the website, he has developed the entire registration process itself, where now we are able to authenticate the IEEE members. So Deepak sir, this was a very, very, I can say very close to my heart, this initiative. Because, in IEEE, once you become member, you will get IEEE membership ID, and throughout life you can use it whether you are active member or a passive member or inactive member. We wanted to stop that pilferage because we wanted to give the real value to our members in the form of value additions, because we provide so many free or subsidized registration to members. It was really impossible for us to give it to non-members. And it was also really a Herculean task for volunteers to go and verify each of the membership numbers. So I requested him to come out with a solution where we can authenticate this membership so that we are giving the value to only members rather than non-members. So he took almost 6 months to develop this, but now we are having our own system where we can authenticate whether member is an active member or inactive member, whether he is a student member, because we also categorize between professional member and student member. So now we can do all these validations online. Another initiative is Humanitarian Technology, which I already explained in the previous time, that we funded 72 such projects with 5,000 rupees, very because our resources are limited. 5,000 may look very small number, but I was surprised to see there were several, at least 72 such projects came, and this being the inaugural year, we thought that let us fund all of them and see what kind of work they are able to give us. But I'm happy to say that in most of the cases, they have done really terrific job, and the thought process, what they have initiated is really commendable, and I can see the seed of humanitarian technology is already sown in their mind. So this initiative was done by Arvind and Sujata. So they are also there, and we are going to announce the 3 best projects in this session. Any work is not possible without the student volunteers. You can see all these wonderful pictures, as well as maintaining and upgrading the volunteers as well as students for making presentations. All these were handled by our student volunteers. I would like to just name few. I may be missing someone, but please forgive me. I know these are the people who are in the front. Ritvik, Ketan, Akash, Aishwarya, Swarna, Advait, Prasanna, Sneha, Sri Rekha, and Abdul Qadir. Their contributions are really, really, really enormous, and I thank from the deep of my heart, because from last several months, and in fact last 1 week, they have not left, because in the night, I remember that and we were not happy with the kind of thank you slides that has come up. So we forced them to stay awake till night and do the corrections, and they have done it. Thank you very much, students. Now I would like to invite all my track chairs to reflect their emotions as well as their learnings and their experience about this conference. So I will start with Ashok Dasar. So welcome you, sir, and I would like to hear from you that whether whatever we have discussed, we were able to meet or not. So it is the kind of feedback for me. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Puneet. I think it all started 4 years ago, and it took 4 years, but we have made it. It's supposed to be in the village, but no problem. Next one will be in the village. And I can just say this, that being the inaugural session, it has been a tremendous job and very successful in bringing all the SDGs in the perspective. I haven't seen any other conference, technical conference, that talks about SDGs as much as we have done. And that is the true achievement, that to bringing SDGs to mainstream. How do we inculcate these into our students? How do we inculcate these thoughts into our professors? One of the professors talked about it, but they have not internalized. So this is the beginning of that internalization process. And I was going to tell him that we will take an initiative to perhaps create certain process or create certain materials that will help them explain what do these SDGs mean. Because SDGs are not clarified to everybody. And so I think that is one initiative which we should take, and we should try to explain SDGs in simple terms, what it means for you and how you can internalize it. I'll stop with that.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I will go to the Narayana, you are there?
Yes, I'm very much here. So
yeah.
I think this has been a fairly amazing experience for me personally, and I'm sure for everyone else. So unlike Ashok, the journey started for me maybe about 11 months ago, maybe, Puneet, right? And I remember I was busy editing that first draft of our work document as to the goals of this conference on the flight to NIT Trichy, right, when I was giving a talk on climate change. So it started from there. And I think it's been an amazing experience to pull this together. And your effervescent energy, I think, was a big part of this, right? And I think we covered a number of things. And the interesting aspect is that although this is an IEEE conference, we focus so much on humanitarian aspects, SDGs, and so on. One of the maybe rare conferences, maybe from an engineering standpoint, where none of the plenaries or talks showed a single equation, right? Barring the one from Shri Rajiv, who was talking about spectral analysis. But barring that and a Stefan Boltzmann equation, there was not a single equation anywhere. So that itself shows the focus on the humanitarian aspects, right? And the discussions around that this is not just tech, but this is interdisciplinary. Covers so many aspects apart from just equations. And I think going forward, I think few topics that come to mind is we briefly talked about it in the change thing is, how do we play a role on ensuring women's empowerment in education? I think that was covered in the last section as well, because that is super critical towards addressing a lot of the humanitarian challenges. It's part of one of the SDGs, but I think we need to do a lot more there. Issues around population, why that is important is because this entire energy balance has to be maintained somehow, right? When we are talking about the planet, climate change, and so on. So I think things like that. So I think those will be future aspects, perhaps a little sensitive, but I think they need to bubble up because unless we get a good grip on both of these, technology can only help so much, right? I think there are other holistic things that we need to look at, even from our IEEE as a platform. So I'll stop there and hand it back to you. Thank you for this opportunity.
But you will definitely start a new track of survival technology.
I had that as a third point. I thought whether to bring it up or not, but I'm interested in starting a track on survival technologies, right?
So your secret is out to everyone. So in next PSCC we have to add that. Yeah. So now I will request Jayakrishnan Divakaran.
I just got into this team, almost 7-8 months back. That's as recent as that. But the most interesting thing, for me is this organizing team, excellent team with Puneet on the top. In fact, I had been watching, Puneet for almost 8 years now. I was there in the 2012, EXICOM, for a brief period, maybe, a month. So I remember that young boy, who was sitting by my side, eagerly, listening to the deliberations because there were a lot of, arguments happening in the EXICOM committee. So I had, a gentleman sitting by my side and, watching this, with the utmost silence. But from that time onwards, I had been watching him, how systematic he is, how sincere he is. So in this committee itself, I saw, how vibrant, he had been working with, both veterans like us, Narayan, Ashok, and then, our young, team, from Neha Kumari, and then Chengappa. So this team, has got veterans and youngsters and everybody, together, work. That's where the leadership, I saw in, in Puneet. And I saw, in the last 8 years, the big transformation and the way in which, he is taking more and more responsibility. That is a great experience. And my colleagues, Narayanan and Ashok Das, they are all ground level practitioners. So whenever I talked about, these themes to other people, I told, my colleagues are not just, people who write papers and then, publish and, who just talk about, some projects at their office. They're all, people who dirty their hands. So that gave me, a lot of respect whenever I talk to, various speakers and things like that. It was nice because of this conference. I connected with a lot of stakeholders across the country, and at the same time, I also connected with a lot of young volunteers. For example, we had some challenge on the website, and where our vendor was not supporting us. So suddenly, our one friend, he jumped in, Kedan, and he started, supporting us. So wherever there was a gap or wherever we had a problem, there were always other people who were immediately stepping in and supporting this. So it was a great team. I really liked. We exchanged a lot of funny messages, and I think this fun will continue. And then all the action items from this conference, you are making reports, but then there is a lot of food for thought, for at least for 3-4 years, for the new committees, to work on. Because this conference, in my view, it's a big thing. Because in fact, for the last 4 years, I had been tracking the International Conference on Humanitarian Technologies at Seattle, because my son, was writing some papers for that. So I had been, seeing what is happening there. So I see this conference, with respect to its objectives and the variety of things which happen, starting from NGOs to sarpanches to I think it connected the sarpanch to the what you call scientific advisor. So that's a breadth of deliberations which happen here. So it is wonderful. I see a lot of synergy happening now between the speakers of this conference. For example, even the last plenary session, I saw everybody coming together. IEEE global senior leader, and then Jay Asundi. Everybody is changing. In fact, after yesterday's telemedicine session, Dr. Ganapathy Krishnan immediately came back and saying, what other support do you need, from me, to all of you. So that's how everybody. Even today, Ramanan, he had some engagement in the evening, but he called me in the afternoon. I would like to talk at 6 o'clock. So that shows the interest of even senior officials like Ramanan, and he also seemed to have enjoyed these things. So everybody, whatever inputs I get, they're all enjoying. They are able to network. So that is really, what I'm seeing as the benefit of this conference. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So Deepak sir, I would like to just tell that these three people are the backbone of this conference. And I am really thankful to them, because they are having so much experience at my age. So they are so senior to me, but still they accepted my invitation to be the track chairs, and they have taken all the loads, and because of them only, I can see this, yes, within a year we were able to successfully do this conference, even this pandemic situation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now we would like to invite our WI chair, Sadhana. Sadhana, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Puneet, for giving me the opportunity to talk. Actually, this conference, Humanitarian Technology Conference itself, was a novel idea to have it, because generally IEEE has got conference on electronics, communication and all, and this was a novel idea, and I was associated with this maybe for the last 3 to 4 months. This conference was planned earlier itself, but then I asked him that why don't we have a WA track so that women researchers can exhibit their projects, and he immediately agreed, and then WA track was added, and we had some very good papers from women research WA track, from women safety to irrigation system. We received more than 24 papers, and 15 papers were presented, and it was a learning experience to go through, attend this conference. It was really wonderful to see the sarpanches coming and speaking. I enjoyed the session tremendously. And also it was a balance. There was a gender balance also in all. There were women speakers also, and there were male speakers also. And even the climate change was very good, and the telemedicine track was also very interesting. on the whole, I enjoyed it, and I would like to thank Mr. Puneet, Bangalore Section Chair, for having organized this conference and also giving WIE a track to encourage women to also participate, to bring them into the mainstream. And that's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadhana madam. Now we will go to the next track chair. I can see Neha is there. Ashwini is somehow missing. Okay, Neha, now over to you.
Thank you, Puneet sir. And like Ashok Das sir said, the seed for B-HTC was sown 4 years ago. But when I joined the team 5 months back, the tree was, full grown, and I was just reaping the fruits each meeting. And each meeting was so insightful and, so knowledge. I was just, gaining knowledge each meeting. And the meetings were not just planning meetings. The meetings were to plan how the future is going to proceed from here. They were not just planning the conference, they were planning how things should move from here. So it was such a big opportunity that Puneet sir gave me to be part of this conference. And in my little tenure with IEEE, what I understand is this was for the first time that YP was given this opportunity to be part of a paper presentation track. So that credit also should go to Puneet sir. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to YP. And we were so overwhelmed by the responses that were gained by the young professionals, the amount of papers and the quality of papers that were submitted by them. So we were really overwhelmed. And yes, we young professionals should, wake up. It's never too late. We should wake up. We should start contributing towards environment, and we should start giving a contribution to whatever little contribution we can give to, have a better future. And thank you everyone for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you very much. Now I will come to our TPC chair, Dr. Chandrakant. Chandrakant sir.
Thank you all. In short, if I want to express my feeling, that Connect was my graduations maybe, and this should have been my post-graduations. It is as simple as that. Under the supervision of, you can imagine who is that. And to just give some glimpse of what happened, Dr. Ashok Das, Narayanan sir, and Jayakrishnan sir. And of course, Neha, me, Sadhana madam, when used to meet for the finalization of these things. The names that was being discussed at times, I was just really amazed what they're talking. So it was such a level of deliberations we used to have. There's some big names we aim for big, and we have achieved also big. And it is only my learning. It has given me a lot of exposure, and I salute along with Ashok sir and Narayan sir and Jayakrishnan sir, because you have opened up a new area for me to explore. And added to that, in the coming to the papers that I was mainly handling, so there was papers from diverse background. I also was sometimes getting this one, but Puneet was writing, don't worry, we will manage these things. And you cannot imagine what sort of what are the different background of paper we had to handle. But at the end, we had done some justice, because we have provided them at 3 reviews. Whatever accepted paper, 3 reviews means we can, any IEEE conference, they will consider this is a very good, because 2 is the minimum requirement they give. And special mention to WIE chair, because actually the moment the papers are submitted, because it was immediately it was open for review. So within next day we are having 3, 4, 5 reviews. I was not even able to complete the plagiarism checks also sometimes, but by then the reviews are, they are so active. That's what I wanted to mention. And WIE and YP also, it was amazing working with them. And I I don't know whether we should mention of Chengappa or whether he's in a position to listen now. Chengappa is, I don't want to take your name because if you're sleeping, please don't wake up for this. So that is the support we had in the behind, and it was amazing learning for me. I will not say anything beyond that. It is a great learning for me, and I'll try to replicate this one in my future endeavor. And I thank you all for providing me with this opportunity. So I look forward to my maybe PhD master thank you very much.
And that's about Chandrakanta. In fact, he's my teacher because it's the first time I'm reviewing papers, and he taught me the platform. And he also did the real heavy lifting with respect to paper reviews. Because when many of us faltered in our commitments, he stepped in and he did a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Chandrakanta. You are my teacher. Thank you.
And I look forward to Chandrakanta's everyday's WhatsApp message with flowers or with the stick. Very good. And Chengappa's amazing support in the WebEx and background and coordination for the infrastructure.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, with this, I will go to our Raghavendra Prasad because he managed the Student Humanitarian Technology project, which was also part of IEEE B-HTC because the moment we announced this IEEE B-HTC, same time we announced this Humanitarian Technology project also. The intention was that we provide our students a platform to showcase their work, and they have done it. And the entire show was managed by Raghavendra Prasad. So Raghavendra Prasad, over to you. Please share your experience.
Yes, sir. So thank you very much for giving a opportunity. And also, last year I was thinking of the same thing that you are having the industry.
Your audio is not very good. You switch off your video, I think, bandwidth issues are there.
Sure.
Then it will be better.
Is it okay now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, it's much better.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. Good evening. Thank you very much for involving me and giving a great opportunity to interact with all the student branches to get the projects. And as I said during the last year, I was thinking, why can't we include the guides from the industry also so that they can give some inputs to the students' project. And you have taken, and also whatever the dream I had, that you have made it really is going to happen. And I'm very thankful to you, sir. And some 8 points I want to highlight. The Student Humanitarian Technology project, it was announced during February 2020, and the dates were extended. The last date for application was extended up to 31st March 2020. 85 projects, students, they have applied for it. Out of that, 72 projects were shortlisted. In each of the projects, all 3 or 4 students, along with the guide, are IEEE members. This was a great initiative so that the IEEE student members as well as the faculty should also be, a guide should also be IEEE members. This was a great initiative in a way such that we give opportunity to IEEE members, as well as it is very good to increase the membership also. And each project had an industry mentor, and out of all that 72 shortlisted projects, 19 student branches participated. Out of that, I'm very happy that GSS IETW, GSS Institute of Technology, Mysore had bagged 23 projects, and BLDEA V.P.Dr.P.G.Halakatti, College of Engineering and Technology, Vijayapur, have bagged 10 projects, and the remaining all of them 2 or 3 projects distributed to all the 17 institutions. And each project was funded rupees 5,000, and it will be given to all the student branches also. And the prizes, 3 prizes were announced, rupees 12,000 rupees for the first prize, 8,000 rupees for the second prize, and also 5,000 rupees for the third prize. And one more, best project on mobility for impact, rupees 10,000 rupees are to be announced, and that will be soon it will be announced. And after the execution of the projects, 3 minutes of video were created by the students, and these were uploaded, and also a poster comprising of all the components which were required to present their project were also uploaded. And yesterday, that is the 9th October, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., the students present their work with great enthusiasm, and projects were selected based on the parameter. The prizes were selected based on the parameters. What is the basic idea on which they are working, poster presentation and clarity in explanation, innovation, and highlight the importance of humanitarian technology project and also implementation. So based on these, the prizes were also selected. I'm very, very happy to interact with all the student members as well as all the from all the different institutions, so that they were very enthusiastic, and also they are expecting let it continue in the coming years also, because during the Jan to May, 8th semester projects will happen. 8th or 6th semester projects as well as MTech projects are going to happen. And this is the right time. Our chair has taken a decision that students have to submit such papers, such projects, as well as they have to know how it is very, very helpful for humanitarian, how humanitarian technology will be very, very helpful. And it has to be brought it to, so that it can be made as a product as well as it can be used by people also. This is a great initiative. I thank Puneet sir for giving an opportunity to lead this as a coordinator for Student Humanitarian Technology project. Thank you very much, sir. I had a very great interaction, and it was I am very happy to interact and also do this work also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Raghavan Prasad. Now we will go to, actually after this we planned, sir, but now we will have your concluding remarks at the end, so please bear with me. So now we are going to announce the Student Humanitarian Technology Project Award. The third best project goes to IEEE SSTAPF P43, which is the project name is Prime Entrepreneur. Institution is KLE Technological University. Project guide is Sujata S. Kotabagi. The students are Rajat MR, Samar MM, Praveen, as well as Pranchal. So congratulations to this team 43 for winning the third prize. So I would like to thank the jury. And before going to this again, I want to inform that these awards section is funding all the projects with 5,000 rupees, but with our initiative, few individuals, they have come forward and they are putting their money to give this award. So I thank these three awards are funded by Mr. Alok Das, and the fourth award which is going to come, at that time I will announce the name who has funded that award as well. So these are individually funded awards, but yes, section is giving 5,000 each to these all the 72 projects. This Student Humanitarian Technology Project Award, second best project goes to project number P14. Award money is 8,000 rupees. Project name is Protection and Monitoring of Lake Using Smart Devices. Institution is the Oxford College of Engineering, Sharan. Students are Akhilesh, Uppam, Sumit, and Sharan. So congratulations to the team. Best project goes to project number 62. Project name is an intelligent powerful detection and alerting system using mobile sensors and deep learning. Institution name is Dayanand Sagar University. Project guide is Professor Rupa Shri S. Students are Shubhra Rao, Rasika, Ritu, Sahana. So congratulations to all of them. Thank you. Award, which is a special award specifically meant for mobility for impact. This award is funded by Dr. Prashant Mishra, and I would request him to make this announcement, and he can just tell the idea and reason behind this award. Prashant, over to you.
So, Puneet, good evening to the esteemed jury members. So essentially the idea for this award is that I've been working in this field of mobility, mobile systems for a very long time. And after some point of time, I started putting my focus as to how we could use all the aspects to actually solve problems of social impact. And especially for a country like India or any developing nations for that purpose, we have a lot of things moving around, right? It's people moving around, vehicles moving around. And the idea was that how can we piggyback on these things to actually solve some critical social problems, like problems of parking, problems of congestion, problems of detecting, let's say, structures like bridges or something of that kind, or problems of pollution and so on and so forth. Right? So with that aim, I said that, well, I want to probably, excite the student community in the Bangalore section towards these types of problems. And with that aim, and of course, I was mentoring students on these aspects, as well as I was also taking students interns to solve certain problems of this kind. But I felt I should also add an additional bit to, in addition to being mentors or guides to such projects, and I felt maybe a token of appreciation in terms of such a monetary prize could also incentivize to them to actually get going and doing things in a much more better fashion. So this is my simple way of expressing my thanks and gratitude to students who actually are thinking about solving social problems, and especially using these aspects of mobility or mobile systems in solving that. And my call to all students is that hey, there are a lot of social problems around us. I don't necessarily say that this is the only way to solve it, but please make an effort to solve it. And if you do it the way that that aligns with what the thoughts that I have, I will support you in many ways, right from your project mentorship to also looking at how we can collaborate with you to actually make these systems much more useful and viable and so on and so forth. So that's the brief pretext to this award. Let me just take the opportunity to announce the award. The project name is Driver Drowsiness Detection and Pedestrian Recognition for Vehicles Using Raspberry Pi. The project team is from GSSIETW. The students are Chaitra, Bhuvika, Kumuda, and Pooja, and the project guide is Dr. Parmeshwari BD. In fact, I'm very happy because, as Professor Raghavendra just said, we had the maximum number of entries from this institution, and it is only, I think this is our way of also acknowledging the great effort that institution and especially Professor Parmeshwari, the branch counselor over there, has put a lot of effort in motivating the students to come forward. So I think this award goes all in all to all of them, both to the institute, to Dr. Parmeshwari and the students of course. So wonderful job.
Thank you, sir. So after this Student Humanitarian Technology Project Award, we will move to IEEE Bangalore Humanitarian Technology Conference Award. So we have constituted award for every track. For each of these 12 tracks, we announced that we will be giving the best paper award. So, and then overall best paper award will be there. But few tracks, they were having very small number of papers, so we have combined 2 tracks, and then out of them we have given the award. So now we will be informing track by track the best paper award. So best paper award for agriculture and food security track goes to classification of medical leads using support vector machine, convolution neural network, and you only look once. I think please, yes, thank you. And the winners are Archita Shastri and Annapurna Patel. So congratulations to them. Best paper award for clean water and sanitation and climate action goes to Aritra Ray and Hina Ray. The project, the paper name is Smart Secure IoT Framework for Integrated Water Resource Management System. Each award is 4,000 rupees. For the communication and connectivity for sustainable development track, award goes to Saurabh Raut, Ashutosh Vaiti, Vinita Rai, and Prachi Raut. Paper name is A Novel Paradigm for Digital Marketing. Best paper award for disaster mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery goes to Vinay Ranagiri, Virendra Gopi, Uma Mahesh, and Roshan. The title of their paper is ANN-based scaling of rainfall data for urban flood simulation. Best paper award for industry innovation and infrastructure goes to Satish Reddy, Sudeep Paul, and Venkateshwara Reddy. And the title of their paper is Modeling and Comparative Analysis of Direct Drive Wheels for Manual Wheelchair. Best paper award for sustainable cities and communities goes to Santi Natarajan, Sanket, Nida, Sai Ramya, Chaitanya, Bharati. The title of paper is An AI-enabled neurocognitive aware autonomous vehicle. Now coming to the WIE-LEAD Best Paper Award for Women Empowerment, it goes to Suvarna, Veena and Pooja. The title of the project is paper is Tissue Evaluation, Detection and Measuring Morphological Characters of Cell Regions in Histological Images. Congratulations to them. Now coming to Young Professional Track on Bridging Technology and Humanity, the award goes to Manik Nandan, Nikhil Kare and Sharan. The title of the paper is Design and Development of Digital Scribe for Visually Challenged Students. So congratulations to them as well. Now coming to the best paper, this one more is pending. So best paper for technologies and medical innovations related to COVID-19. It goes to Anurag Shankar, Yash Sonar and Kavita Sultanpure. The paper's paper name is Detection of COVID-19 using Chest X-ray Scan. Best paper for quality education, decent work and economic growth goes to Sujata, Kiran and Darshana. Paper title is An Approach for Text Recognition from Document Images. Congratulations to them as well. Now coming to the best paper award. So there was a tie from the reviewers on this overall best paper award. So we have given best paper award to two joint papers, jointly to two papers. They are from good health and well-being as well as affordable and clean energy. So coming to good health and well-being, so this will be the track paper as well as overall best paper award, because overall best paper award was 20,000. So we have divided among these two papers 10,000 each. Authors are Ram Krishna A, Kanishka Sharma. They have really done a wonderful job, and the paper is a redesign of COVID-19 ICUs to serve Corona warriors. And second paper is another wonderful paper from T. Cermony, Rajesh, Abhishek and Shikha. Their paper title is Optimum Sizing and Performance Assessment of Solar PV DG Hybrid System for Energy Self-Sufficiency of Jaggery Making Units. So congratulations to both the teams, both the authors of both the papers. A very big congratulations to them for winning this 20,000 rupees, which will be 10,000 each award. With this, we are coming to the end of our session, and I would like to announce another event which is coming in November from Bangalore Section. We are going to again initiate a new conference, workshop or some conference which will be focused on the industry professionals. Till now we were organizing Smart Tech, but we have increased that umbrella of Smart Tech, and we have renamed it as Bangalore Technology Conclave again. We are providing WI and YP teams to own and manage tracks separately under this Bangalore Technology Conclave. So this is going to happen from November 3rd to November 7th. This is going to be focused on AI. So this is the name of our new event as well as initiative, that will be Bangalore Technology Conclave. This is going to be the logo of Bangalore Technology Conclave. We are going to have, as part of Bangalore Technology Conclave, a WI Global Summit. So first 2 days, 3rd and 4th, will be focused on AI on the industry professionals. 5th, we are going to devote entire day on the WI Global Summit, and we have invited all the WI leaders across globe to come and participate, and focus of this global summit is on AI, women in AI, as well as women in leadership roles. Now coming to next subsequent days, 6th and 7th, we are again going to initiate a new initiative that is called, similar to WI Global Summit. We have planned YP Global Summit. Again, the YPs from entire globe, they are going to participate in this conference, which is going to happen on 6th and 7th. And this is the logo where you can see how nicely they have put as many as flags so that it represents that global representation is going to be there. Again, this is going to be focused on AI, satellite or space technology, VLSI, and I think they are going to have one more session on IoT. So these 2 days they are going to devote this. And uniqueness of these WI and YP conferences or global summits are such that all the speakers, they are going to be either YP for the YP Global Summit or WI Women in Engineering for the WI Global Summit. But I have told them they also should do a diversity and inclusion. So at least in WI Global Summit, they are encouraged to have 1 or 2 male speakers also, so that we are really inclusive in both the ways.
Do I qualify? Do I qualify to be the YP?
You are always YP.
Come.
So before closing, again I will request Deepak Mathur sir for his closing remarks for 5 minutes. Sir, I know you are attending throughout I have asked only half an hour, but you have given me more than 1 hour of time. Deepak Mathur sir.
I thought I have already spoken. Anyway, it was really nice to know the way the team worked and the way your students, young professionals, WI, professional members, and Dr. life members, they have blended together and they have created a wonderful product like B-HTC. So I congratulate you on this beautiful teamwork for bringing such a wonderful conference. But after that, you have shown me what you are having for us in future. So that is also wonderful. You are bringing technology conclave, YP global meet, and whatnot. So that was a big surprise to me. But that's the kind of team you are having, the kind of leadership you are having, the kind of contribution you are getting from the Bangalore volunteers and members. That is very remarkable. And for humanitarian technology, which I really worked for a long time, and I see the way your students are doing. In fact, the Oxford College of Engineering, I know they were performing in 2013. The branch counselor or mentor, Peter Saran did a project in 2013. Wonderful project she did for humanitarian technology. And she also presented a paper in Turku University where first region humanitarian technology was held. So Bangalore Section is doing a wonderful job. And here I would like to request all the members, YPs and senior members, which I was talking to you also earlier, that we want some good volunteers for our move outreach project, and which we are looking for, and you are also very instrumental in finding that. So if anyone is interested with some dedication and with some interest in the humanitarian work, and which we want to do for disaster recovery, and you can explain that about that project. If anybody is interested with commitment, I think that is very good opportunity to work for the humanitarian project. That is very good to get good satisfaction from that. Because Mary has done and the project is very, very successful in the USA, and if it is successful here, then probably we can reach the we can increase the reach of this particular project from Kerala to Odisha and West Bengal. So in your ExCom, you put this proposal and you explain to your ExCom members and other that if they can come forward and if they can take this responsibility, then it will be a wonderful opportunity for them. Again, I congratulate you, your team. They have done an excellent job, and probably you should provide a kind of section. They should also come up to that level. Bangalore section and section, Kerala section, they have done a wonderful job. And there are many sections who are struggling in doing activities. So probably we create some sort of collaborative approach to bring those section up. So thank you very much, Puneet, your team and your leadership, your volunteers, assistant volunteers, YPs, wonderful job. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us. Again, I would like to ask you to big clap for you. So with this, friends, now we are, every good thing has an end. So we have come to the end of this 3 days of mega event. At least I can say it has gone beyond my expectations. This IEEE Bangalore Humanitarian Technology Conference. And I really feel contented that yes, the initiative what we have thought and with the zeal which we have, our entire team has worked, it has really paid off well. And at least we are able to inculcate at least 1% now people, definitely those who have attended, they will be started thinking about, yes, it is our responsibility for a sustainable world, and we should also do our own bit to make the lives of our fellow citizens of the globe, a meaningful life. With these words, I would like to sign off from this Humanitarian Technology Conference. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, the best thing he has told that we want a photo with you there. So if you can spare again some few minutes time, then all the panelists, please switch on your videos so that we can have one.
Puneet, I don't want photo with me. I want photo with you all.
We just want to add one more thing. I think a big thank you for all our organizations, institutions for supporting us, volunteer, as well as a big thank you to our families who have put up with us over all these months. Because it's a big support that they have given. So that's also something I wanted to call out.
Thank you very much for bringing that.
And believe me or not, it was harder to do virtual than the physical, you know.
No, I agree with you. Virtual is very difficult. Though we have got some advantages, but it is difficult to organize.
Very difficult.
From organizer point of view, it is very difficult.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Good night to all of you, and thank you.